Om 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 Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Boliye Shri Chinmaya Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambu Janmane Savilasa Mahamoha Graha Grasaika Karmane. Hari Om. We are into this 83rd day of this Vedanta Shravana Sadhana Yagna. We are looking into this text called Panchadashi Tripti Dipa by Swami Vidyaranya. Tripti Dipa is about the lamp of contentment. How the person who knows that I, the self alone is, and the body, mind and intellect and this whole world is only an appearance, then how they live their life of contentment is the content of this text. We are looking into this part on karma. We saw about svecha karma, or karma that we lovingly like to take up. We really desire something to do, svecha, ishta. Then anicca karma also, anicca prarabdha. Anicca means I don't want to do something, but I have to do and I'm forced to do. So why does it happen? The verses are explained with the help of verses from the Gita. Prashnottarabhyame vaitat gamyate Arjuna Krishnayoh anicca purvakam chasti prarabdhamiti tachrunu. Prarabdham prakarshena arabdaha, that which is well begun. The karma which has begun to yield its result. For example, as we saw the story of Dasharatha, he thought the sound was coming from an elephant while going for hunting. He left the arrow and he thought he's shooting the elephant, but he heard the voice of a boy, a youth, and he knew that it is not the elephant, but it is the youth that he has shot. And it begins to give its results. The results is the kind of curse that he goes through, where he has to leave his son and he dies missing his son. Just like how the parents of this boy, Shravana, they gave up their life missing their dear son who was taking care of him, who was shot by Dasharatha. So this is called anicca prarabdha. It is not something that he wanted, but it happened. Prashna uttarabhyam eva etat. From the question and answers about prarabdha, anicca prarabdha, etat gamyate, this is explained through the discussion between Arjuna and Krishna. Gamyate means we are able to understand through the discourse between Arjuna and Krishna. Anicca purvakam asti prarabdham, the fructifying action or the results of the action that we don't like. Ichcha purvakam is the results of the action that we like. We have something in us that prods us into action and we like to do it. For example, getting a PhD degree. If it is there in our prarabdha and we like it and we are getting the PhD degree, it is Ichha Purvaka Prarabdha. Going to jail is not, it is also there in our Prarabdha, and it is not something that anybody will like. So, anyway, it has to be gone through, it has to be endured. Anichha Purvakam, not desired, cha asti prarabdham iti tat shrunu. So the teacher says, if you are talking about Anichha Purvaka Prarabdha, why it is happening and what is the reason, then you listen to what I am saying from the Bhagavad Gita, what Bhagavan Shri Krishna, what Arjuna asks, and what Krishna replies to Arjuna. अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः. Arjuna asks, अथ केन प्रयुक्तः अयं papam charati, a person by what means, engaged in what, propelled by what, is he going towards committing sin? So certain actions, even though we are compelled to do, we know that they are going to yield sinful results, which means the mind is going to be disturbed. We are not going to be peaceful with the results that come. Certain actions we know for sure. The human being knows that certain actions will give him bad results. Anichannapi Varshneya. O Varshneya, the person who has come from the Vamsha of Vrishni. Vrishni is that Vamsha from which Krishna has come. So he is called Varshneya. O Varshneya, Anichannapi, even though that person doesn't desire to do something. For example, we don't desire to get up late in the morning. We want to be we see people who are getting up so early, taking a bath, doing their yoga, asana, pranayama, meditation, early in the morning itself, and then meeting the sun when it rises, going for a walk on the beach or in the mountains or even near the park, and then coming back and having their coffee, reading the newspapers, getting all the news, not getting doped on scrolling through the YouTube and Facebook, but getting whatever they need to know in the morning in a very healthy way. We love to see people doing this and we love to be like that also. But Anichannapi, without our desire, why do we then get up at 7:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning to see the sun 2 hours after it has come up? Why? Anichannapi Vashneya, Baladiva, as if by force. We set the alarm. Our intentions are all very good. We set the alarm the previous day. We go to sleep wanting to do all this. And then we only end up imagining and dreaming that we have gone for a jog and come back when we are actually getting up at 7:30 in the morning. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidhyena miha vairinam. Kama yesha krodha yesha. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says there are two reasons. One reason is kama or desire. I have the intense desire in me to do some action. Then krodha. Krodha is anger. Anger happens when something that I desire is being blocked by something else. That is krodha. Esha. These are born of rajoguna. Rajoguna means increased power to do something that we independently want to do for ourselves. It is not a collective action that we are engaged in, but we are engaged in some secret pleasure that we alone wish, we alone want to enjoy. Rajoguna samudbhavaha. Kama and krodha are born out of Rajoguna, Maha Ashanaha. It is this Kama and Krodha, they eat up. They are big gobblers. What do they gobble up? They gobble up our energy. Our life force is being taken up by this Kama and Krodha, desire and anger. Whenever we get angry, we know how, especially when as we get older and we get anger, we are not able to sustain ourselves for some time because the anger has taken away a lot of our life force, our prana shakti. Maha Ashanaha, it is the great eater of our prana. Mahapatma, when we indulge in anger, when we indulge in our desires, it pushes us to greater sin. Sin means it hides a vision of our true self and it shows something else other than our true self as our real self and keeps us there in that ignorance. That is sin. Vidhi enam iha vairinam. These are our enemies, Arjuna, says Bhagavan Shri Krishna. What are our enemies? Kama and Krodha, desire and anger. Swabhavajena kaunteya nibaddhasvena karmana kartum nechasi yan mohat karishyasya vashopitat. This Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha is coming in verse 36 and 37. This Anichannapi Vashneya is verse 36 and Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha, the reply is verse 37 from chapter 3. The last Swabhavajena Kaunteya is the 60th verse from chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita. Swabhavajena Kaunteya Nibaddaha Svena Karmana. By one's own actions, by my own actions done in the past, I form my Swabhava, my habitual pattern of thinking. It is all coming under the realm of habit, what Bhagavan Sri Krishna is talking about. My own thoughts, which are intensified through words and through actions, they yield results and they come back as my thought patterns, the habitual thought pattern, which is called the vasana, which yields more desires, creates more thoughts, words, and actions. It is a cycle. This cycle becomes our swabhava or our nature. Swabhava jena kaunteya, born out of my swabhava or a natural pattern of action. Nibaddhaha, the individual is bound, tied by one's own karma. Svena karmana. Svena karmana means karma here does not mean exactly the work that we do. Karma here means the impressions of the results of the actions that we have done in many lifetimes in the past and in this current lifetime also. Svena karmana, propelled by my swabhava or my nature, kartum na ichhasi, even if I don't want to do something, yat mohat, because of my delusion, because of my lack of awareness, because of my understanding that whatever I am getting from the world through my actions is what is going to make me happy. That is the delusion. Because of the delusion, moha, karishyasi, avashaha api tat. The person, without their own control over themselves, they go ahead and do the action. This applies to all the actions that may take us on the wrong side of the law. All the actions that may cause us to be embarrassed in front of members of our own family and our own loved ones will not like us to do certain things. And we do those actions. Why those actions happen? Because of the swabhava of that individual. That person's own nature, which is either born from Rajoguna or Tamoguna. Especially Rajoguna. Tamoguna, we will not do action. We will just avoid action. We will avoid doing the right action because of Tamoguna. Rajoguna will propel us to do the wrong action. An addict who has decided to quit smoking seems to be helplessly drawn to it. A person with no desire to cheat may be forced into doing so by some bad elements. We hear of so many people who are very straightforward, they don't want to do anything, but they get caught in some family circumstances, and the whole family wants to do something that is not okay, and this person also has to agree because he is a part of that family. And if he does not agree, he has to break himself out, which he doesn't want to do. So he is also part of the decision that the family takes, something that is not correct, that is not approved of by society. Social or political pressure may compel us into certain undesired situations like attending a wedding or sometimes even a spiritual discourse. There must be a hardbound atheist and they will be compelled to attend a spiritual discourse with their friends or family because they don't want to say no to them. And sometimes giving bribes also for getting work done. Somebody said recently that a so and so person received 2 lakh bribe for getting a transfer, and they were complaining about the person who received the bribe. But the question is, why did this one person who wants a transfer at the cost of 2 lakh bribe? So the whether the person is indulging in the action or the recipient of the action, there is everybody is involved in this kind of a habit which makes us do the wrong things in this world. The swabhava or inherent tendencies created nature alone cancels our will about not doing an action. So it is swabhava. It is our inherent tendency to say chalta hai and participate in some wrong action. It is that same inherent tendency which also makes us to do the right action. Like King Harishchandra, even though there was tremendous pressure under him, he had to go through so much suffering. Even then, he did not bow down to doing the wrong things. There's a very beautiful verse in Tamil of Harishchandra's story. His wife is telling, Marayal Nanaindu, the wife who has, her son is dead, and so she's crying. Marayal Nanaindu Pasiyal Alain, Vegilal Ularndu Mare, Vegilal Ularndu Pasiyal Nalai, Pasiyal Alaindu, Marayal Anaindum Urava, Aniyaya Vengan Araval Iranda, Adipavam Yenkol Arien, Taniye Kidand Vidanoi Serind, Taremi Durunda Magane, Ini Yare Nambi Uirvarvam Yen, Irayonum Yanum Avame. So the mother is crying about the child. The child has gone through so much of Harishchandra's son, gone through so much of difficulties because the father is a stickler to the truth. The child goes through so much of difficulties, and finally the child is bitten by a snake, and then the child dies, and the mother is crying, you have not been burned by the sun, you have not been drenched by the rain, you have not died because you have been hungry, but just because the snake bit you, now you are dead. With whom will I live now? Whom will I depend on? I have none other than God and myself to depend on now that the son is died. So this is the condition. And she's taking the child to the burning ghat where Harishchandra, the father of the child, is only taking care of the collection of tax and duties at the burning ghat. He is the person who puts everything to the fire, and he is taking care of the duty. He is seeing his own son, and his wife has got no money to burn the child. And Harishchandra is asking, give me money, otherwise I cannot send this body to be burnt. So this is the kind of trouble that Harishchandra went through. But then it is a very moving story, the story that has moved so many great Mahatmas into a life of truth. And Harishchandra does not submit himself to all this kind of any kind of wrongdoing just because he is facing a lot of difficulties. That is why Subramanya Bharatiya says, அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லையே இச்சகத்தில் உள்ளோரெல்லாம் எதிர்த்து நின்ற போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சமென்பதில்லையே உச்சி மீது வானிடிந்து வீழுகின்ற போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை 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 அச்சமென்பதில்லையே கச்சணிந்த கொங்கை மாதர் கண்கள் வீசு போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சம் என்பதில்லையே நச்சை கொணர்ந்து வாயில் நண்பரூட்டு போதிலும் அச்சமில்லை அச்சமில்லை அச்சம் என்பதில்லையே. There is no fear at all because I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not this intellect. So whatever difficulty I may go through, whatever people may cast their aspersions on me, even if it is a friend that is giving me poison, even if all the women in the world are, all the beautiful women in the world are making fun of me, I have no fear, says Subramanya Bharatiya. So this is the knowledge and the thought from which our great literature is born. What is Parecha Prarabdha? Now we saw Anicca Prarabdha. Anicca Prarabdha is engaging in action which I don't like to do just because it is being propelled by my Prarabdha. What is Parecha Prarabdha? Paraicha is others' desire. Prarabdha means an action or a thought or a compulsion or a propulsion to work which is desired by others. Nanichanto na chechantaha paradakshinya samyutaha sukha dukhe bhajantyetat paricha purva karmahi. Na anichantaha, it is not those who are not desiring, people who are unwilling to do something. Nacha icchantaha, they are not willing to do it also. They are neither unwilling nor are they willing. But paradakshinya samyutaha, those who are endowed with compassion towards others. Dakshinya means compassion, moved by wanting to help somebody else. Dakshinya also, coming from the word daksha, the ability to do something. Even the word kripa, or it is not pity, it is grace. Kripu samarthye, it is coming from the root kripa, which means samarthya, the capacity to help others. Dakshinya samyutaha, they are endowed with their power and the capacity to help others. And they are also moved by their plight and they want to do it. Sukha dukhe, whether it is in pleasure or pain, bhajanti, they do those actions. Etat parecha purva karma, he propelled by the desire of others or taking up other people's karma, wiping out somebody else's debt, wiping out somebody else's tears, going out of the way to help somebody else to solve their problems. One who has no need and hence not keen on doing anything for themselves, moved by others' suffering, and they take up their karma, which is called Parecha Prarabdha. As I mentioned very simply, it is like the parent doing the child's homework or the father doing the project of the child. The individual will have to face the pain or the disease sooner or later. Sometimes the devotee is desperately seeking some gain and prays to the wise man. Through the wise man's wish or blessings, the gain can be advanced and the devotee feels happy that he got what he wanted. But this Parecha Prarabdha is not going to solve the issue. It is like, I want to clear my house right now for some guests to come in, and I just put all the stuff that is lying on the floor and I stuff it in some cupboard or hide it in one room, lock that room so that nobody can see it. I have to handle it some other time, some other day. So that is Parecha Prarabdha is like that. Even though we are doing it for somebody else, that person cannot escape that. Some other time in their life, sometime later, they have to go through it. Puja Guruji here says, we should not take another's prarabdha moved by sentiments, as we might not have the strength to go through others' prarabdha. We will not have the strength. Example, one without a sufficient bank balance cannot take over the debt of another person. Otherwise, this person also will become insolvent. So, when it comes to Parecha Prarabdha, it is not the lot for all to think about Parecha Prarabdha. It is only for that Mahatma who has got so many disciples under him, and those disciples are serving him. They are they are learning from him. They want to grow on the spiritual path, and on that spiritual path, when that devotee or disciple has a problem, and the guru, out of pity, can, with their words of blessing, help that problem to go away. Like many a student under a master would have experienced this. Their simple headaches, their aches and pains, their diseases, which will never have the capability to go, will magically vanish by the blessing of the Guru. Even though the Guru may not accept it or say it openly, it does happen. Such miracles do happen, and that is the reason why people serve great masters. They remain in their service, they offer their wealth, and they offer their services to the master, because it is not because it is out of love they do, but the whole relationship is happening. It is proceeding because the master who is thus served is moved by the difficulties of their disciples, and those difficulties also go away with the power of the master. What is the enjoyment of a wise man? How does a wise man enjoy? Kadam tarhi kimichan ni kimichan kadam tarhi kimichan ityevam ichha nishidhyate necha nishedha kinpicha badho bharjita bijavat. Katham tarhi. So you have Svecha Prarabdha is something that I like to do. Some work that I'm given that I like to do. And I am doing it. I am excited about doing it. Anicca Prarabdha, some work that has been thrust upon me, which I don't want to do. And I am forcing myself to do without my compulsively I am doing it. Parecha Prarabdha, taking up somebody else's burden, carrying somebody else's burden. It can be something else. For example, somebody will tell you carry some, they would not have the space in the train or something. They will just give their bag of unwashed clothes and then say, why don't you please carry it? Or their books that they don't want to carry themselves, they will trust it on somebody. Though it comes under anicca prarabdha, when it is done with love, it becomes parecha prarabdha. Katham targi kimichan iti evam ichha nishidyate. Then why does the Upanishad mantra say kimichan, desiring what? Kasya kamaya. Now the word is on kimichan. Desiring what? Iti evam, this Upanishad, ichha nishidyate. So this Upanishad is saying that person who knows the self, atmanam chet vijaniyat ayam asmi iti purushaha. The person who has taught about the self as this I am asmi iti, kimichan, what is he going to desire? Why is this desire being denied here? Na icchan, na iच्छा निषेधः किंतु इच्छा बाधः bharjita bijavat. The desire is not being denied, but it is only mentioned that the desire is not going to affect, because the desire has become bharjita bija. Bharjita bija means roasted seed. The desire has become a roasted seed. You can only eat that seed. You cannot plant it and expect a plant to grow out of that seed. So you cannot use that desire and expect that desire to increase in us, because the desire does not have the capacity to increase in us. So such a desire does not have the capacity to disturb the individual into further and further actions. The desire has gone out of the action. So when we do an action, for example, somebody is asking for water and I can just say yes and take and give the water. There is no desire in this action. It is just an action. There is no intensity in that action. But when somebody asks for water and I really like that person and I'm excitedly going and giving water, then there is so much of energy in that action. That excitement is the desire that is filling that action, and that desire will propel me into further and further action until a point when I get even tired, because that person will be asking for water and asking for some help, and I'll be going and giving, and finally I may get tired also, and I will be wondering, why am I doing all this for this person? It is because I have only desired. I have put that intensity of my life force into that action, and that action is now reaping its results. It is not that person. That person is also caught up in this because they have prompted that desire in us. So one way is to just do the action without any likes or dislikes. The other way, if you want to intensify the desire, putting your like into that action and doing that action. The other, if you put your dislike, if you put your hatred into that action, then also that action will start reaping successive results of intensive hatred in our lives. So bharjita bija means this person is just doing actions. Whatever needs to be done is being done without any likes or dislikes. And so that desire, that action which is prompted by some desire in somebody, in that individual or in somebody else, is not going to yield any, it is not going to create further impressions in the mind of that individual. Even people, generally in homes also, mothers will advise, especially daughters, say don't walk banging on the ground with your feet. Like Dhumaradandi is the name that they will use. Don't walk like that, as if an army is marching. Walk very gently on the floor, which even in those small actions also, we don't put any intensity in those actions. Even while my mother used to show me how to make a dosa. First time when I was making dosa, I will go around with the ladle and go round and round, putting a lot of energy. She said, there's no need for all that. Just stand here, keep the ladle here. Only the hand should move. No other part of the body needs to move. Even while we sing also, we will, when we practice singing, our eyebrows will move, our head will move. The teacher will guide us saying, no, there is no need. The body can be still. Only the throat needs to be exercised. The mouth needs to open. The music has to come out. You don't need to close your eyes, open your eyes, widen your eyes, lift up your eyebrows, shake your head, shake your hands to produce good music. So in all these manners, in all these small ways, people teach us how to not put unnecessary energy into our actions, which is what is called kama karma, and make our actions effortless. Bharjita bija means that desire is not impacting me. The desire is there, the action is happening, and it is a once and for all situation. It is not going to be a repeated thing, it is not going to be a daily affair. Bharjitani tu bijani satya karyakaraani cha vidvadichhatateštavya tateshtavya sattva bodhanna karyakrit bharjitani cha bijani. Bija means seeds. Bharjitani means the seeds are roasted. The seeds are fried. Very tasty seeds. Sometimes you fry certain seeds and then you eat them. It will be very tasty. Santi, they are akarya karani. Those which cannot produce further effects or results. The fried seeds cannot produce further results. They cannot produce plants or trees. In the same way, vidvat ichha, the desire of a wise man. A wise man is a person who has realized the self. That is a wise person. And he has a desire. In the same way, ishtavya, the desires, asatva bodhat na karyakrita. Since he has understood the unreality of the world, of thoughts, emotions and feelings, he is not putting any energy into those desires. Na karyakrita. They do not produce further effects. There is no excitement in the action due to the knowledge of its impermanence. Due to the knowledge of the impermanence of the desire and the fulfillment of the experience of fulfillment by engaging in that desire, the wise man knows that there is no permanency in that. So he does not put his energy into that desire. It is a one moment thing. It is a one time thing. If it comes, it can be even many times. It comes, he enjoys, and then it is gone. If it comes, he suffers and it is gone. He is not taking it. He is not thinking about it. He is not worrying about it. He is not talking to others about it. He just wants to complete it and move on in life. These bharjita bija, the desires that do not have the intensity of the life force in them, they do not restart the endless cycle of desire, actions, results, vasanas, desires. If I have a desire, if I have an intense desire to eat some sweet, then I will speak about it. When I speak about it, I will also start working in that direction. I will take action, and then I will get that result. I will enjoy that result. Because I enjoy that result, there is the energy of enjoyment in that result, and so that result becomes very deeply entrenched in my psyche, and that will produce, that is called vasana, or the propensity to enjoy that more and more, and I will seek it again. I will engage in action, I will enjoy, and it will become a vasana or a desire. So with the knowledge that I am not the body and the world is an illusion, the good or bad karmas do not touch him. The world is an illusion means the world of feelings, thoughts and emotions is an illusion. This whole world is also an illusion, but we don't experience that it is an illusion until the moment the person passes on. At least for the person who passes on, this particular world that they have been used to seeing is not there anymore for that person. And for us also who have been seeing that person, that particular name and form is not there. So both ways it is the physical world is an illusion. And this illusion will not die for now, because the physical world itself will not go away for now. Until the end of the kalpa, this world will exist. And after that, this very world of five elements that we see also will not be there. But when we talk about world as an illusion, we are not talking about this Panchabhuta world. We are talking about our individual world of thoughts, emotions, and feelings, and our own dreams, likes and dislikes. This is a world that we are talking about. The example of the roasted seed is further illustrated. The prarabdha that the wise man is experiencing. What is the prarabdha of the wise man? Dagdha bijam arohepi bhakshanayopayujyate vidvi vidvadichapyalpabhogam kuryan vyasanam bahu. Dagdha bijam, the roasted seed, the seeds that have been put through fire and taken out, arohe api, they do not germinate. They do not germinate into vasanas that will manifest into actions and further vasanas. But they are fit for eating. Bhakshanaya upayujyate vidvat icha, the desire of the wise man, api, in the same way, alpa bhogam kuryat na vyasanam bahu. He is just enjoying it. He is enjoying or suffering. Alpa bhogam means he is just taking it in, whatever comes. He is just receiving it without giving any positive or negative attention, and basically paying neutral attention, neutralizing the whole thing, neutralizing that reality. The next verse, Bhogena charitarthatvad prarabdham karma hiyate bhoktavya satyata bhrantyam vyasanam tatra jayate. Bhogena, by enjoyment, charitarthatvat, due to fulfillment. When I am enjoying something, I feel fulfilled. Prarabdham karma hiyate. There is some prarabdha in me that is bringing a chocolate cake to me, eggless chocolate cake to me. Prarabdha means my former desires, intensity of my former desires is still there, and it is working on its own. Even if I don't do anything, somebody who knows about this will bring it to me. So it is coming to me. Bhogena charitarthatvat. When I take that chocolate cake, eggless chocolate cake, and when I eat it, I am experiencing something. Some experience is there. The taste, the feeling of contentment is there when I eat it. So that prarabdha karma, that karma inside which is generating this chocolate cake, making it come to me, is exhausted by sipping it. So that is the reason why, when we want to come out of when we want to come out of unwanted habits. So people say, suppose you want to give up the habit of drinking coffee or drinking tea, we don't need to deny it. We don't need to push it away. We don't need to hate it. But make a nice cup of coffee. Even somebody gives it to you also, or even if you are making your own cup of coffee, make a nice cup of coffee, put it in a very nice cup, and then this is not coffee, this is water. Put it in a nice cup, and then lay the table. You keep it on the table very beautifully, like you're serving it it is being served in a 5-star hotel. Keep it very nicely. Comfortably sit in a chair. Give yourself a half an hour's time, and then take that coffee, sip by sip by sip. Enjoy every sip. Let it go inside you. The moment you start drinking like this, or eating your snacks and other junk food in this manner, you are removing that vasana. You are experiencing that completely, and while experiencing that, the vasana gets slowly erased, and you are not excited about drinking coffee anymore, or excited about anything, any habits that you want to come out of. Engage in it, set apart the time for it, maybe half an hour, 1 hour for that particular habit which you really don't want to. And you take it, you eat it, you enjoy it, you revel in it, you just appreciate it bit by bit by bit. Take a long time to go through it, and then the prarabdha gets over with that. This is one way of reducing our intensity of desires by fulfilling the desire with a divine thought in our mind. That is also very good thing to do. Many people, even that they say, whenever you are indulging in some bad habits, go through that habit, be very conscious of it, be very aware of it, be very prayerful that it should go away, and offer it to the deity whom you love very much. Every moment that you are enjoying that habit, think about that deity, and then you offer it to that deity, and the habit will leave. Because what is actually happening is, the we are, with the help of that memory of the deity, we are using it like an acid to remove that impression that is there in our mind. Or we are using the very same habit, thinking about it, to fill up that impression, so that the impression does not stay as an impression, and it gets filled up with energy. When that impression gets filled up with our prana shakti, the impression becomes very alive, it is very fulfilled, and then it ceases to exist. Bhogena charitarthatvat prarabdham karma hiyate. When you go through that process completely of what we desire, the prarabdha karma is exhausted. Bhoktavya satyata brantya, due to the delusion that the objects of enjoyment are real, vyasanam tatra jayate. Why are we suffering? Why are we having worry? We are worried because we think that whatever object I'm enjoying, there is real happiness. In that cup of coffee, we say, I love coffee. We say that. And with that intensity of thought for the cup of coffee, we are believing fully that my joy depends on this cup of coffee. So, when I get this cup of coffee, I am elated. When I don't get this cup of coffee, I feel very sad. When this cup of coffee is also over, then also I feel sad, because why? The belief that I need to place on myself. The joy that I am getting, I am experiencing, is because of me. And it is not, in reality also it is the same. In science also this is proved today by modern science, that happiness is generated within, it is not from without. So to give the example of a cup of coffee, when I take that cup of coffee, when I know that I'm going to get coffee, the dopamine is a hormone that is secreted. So when I'm thinking coffee, 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 and the coffee is coming on its way, I can smell it in the kitchen. I can hear the clanking of the ceramic ware in which the coffee is going to be poured. So all the time, the dopamine is secreting in my head. So it is not because of the coffee. It is because of my desire for the coffee and the expectation that I'm going to get coffee, the dopamine is secreting. And the dopamine is a hormone that makes me feel good. And then I take the coffee. The moment I sip the coffee and me have become one. Dopamine stops secreting. So I'm experiencing the happiness of the dopamine that just secreted, and not the drinking of the coffee. It's very simple as that. And then after I have drunk the coffee, there is a kind of calmness that is there, because my wish is fulfilled. The job is done, and I am relaxing in the chair. And at that time, because the mind is calm, serotonin is secreting in the body through the brain. The brain secretes that hormone, and I am feeling so relaxed. So, where is the relaxation coming from? The serotonin and the dopamine Where did it come? Did it come from the cup of coffee? No, it came from within. So that is what we mean, that the joy comes from within, the happiness comes from within. It is not from the objects without. So when the person wrongly believes that the joy is coming from the object without, then they're placing the importance, placing their awareness, placing that power, placing the energy in an object without them, and because of that they are dependent on that object for joy, and without that object they are not experiencing the joy and they go through sorrow. So this is the practical aspect of Vedanta. Prarabdha karma is talking about how we apply this knowledge of Vedanta in our day-to-day life and minimize our sorrow on a day-to-day basis and increase our joy. The way to increase our joy is to rely on the self, rely on the knowledge of the self, rest in the knowledge of the self, and know that the world of objects, emotions, and thoughts is not real, and not invest my energy and power into it. Puja Guruji here says, for example, when a wise man initiates the building of a school. Oh, sorry, we have not read this verse. Yeah, have you read this verse? Yeah. Sometimes the bhogena charitarthatvat. Sorry. Yeah. Bhogena charitarthatvat prarabdham karma hiyate. That's the first line. The second line is bhoktavya satyata brantya vyasanam tatra jayate. So there is sorrow because the person believes that the object is real. Prarabdha of the wise man gives its desired results and exhausts itself. For the wise man, the prarabdha is also in action, but for the man of the world who is engaging in the world, prarabdha is moving in a clockwise direction. From here, from the heart, the energy goes into the object, and from the object, the results come back into the heart, stays an impression. So it is a clockwise motion. It is keeping us engaged in action. Whereas for the wise man, it is in an anti-clockwise motion. From the world, the prarabdha karma, the expression has already happened in the past because of the energy and the intensity that has already been put in something, in experience of objects, persons, and situations before knowledge. After knowledge has come, they have dropped all this because they have understood the futility of investing our energy in the world of names, forms, and emotions. So that supply is now cut. And now, since the supply is cut, the turbine is in motion. The engine has not stopped. The engine is in motion. It is going out. It is bringing the stuff that has been desired earlier to this person. This person just takes it in and he just absorbs it, neutralizes it, and it is not providing more steam, more force to go out and bring more, because the engine, the power has been switched off inside. The power is not in motion. It is like the train that has come to a halt after seeing somebody on the track or some problem on the track. The train that is far away has come to a halt very quietly, very smoothly, even before more disaster can happen. So that is a prarabdha at work for the individual. How do we make that kind of a prarabdha to work for us? Whatever we think, whatever we speak, whatever we do, whatever we desire, let it be just in a relaxed manner, without any intensity of I should have this, I must have this has to be done. Without that intensity, when we just go about our day-to-day duties and engaging with people, if I want to talk to somebody, if I make the call on the phone, the wanting to talk to somebody is happening because of the force of prarabdha. I make the call on the phone and I engage in that action. If that person talks to me, let me engage in a good conversation. If that person doesn't talk or doesn't pick up the phone, it is okay. Just allow it to go. Then the prarabdha will get absorbed in that manner. When a wise man initiates the building of a school, prarabdha of the wise man gives its desired results and exhausts itself. They have their utility for him and for others. So for that individual also some amount of joy comes because of certain prarabdha. It exhausts his prarabdha and becomes a blessing for others. So when wise men engage in actions in the world, their prarabdha is exhausted. And for others, it is, for example, if the person has been initiating and doing good work in society, and he becomes a wise man after knowing the truth, then he becomes the head of an ashram or a mutt or an organization of a spiritual organization. Then he is called to inaugurate a building of a school or a hospital or a shop. And because of his presence, many people are benefited by that. Because of his blessings, he has raised his levels of energy to very great heights with his meditation, prayer, and knowledge and lifestyle. And so he is giving that energy to that institution which has invited him. And because of that, everything happens well in that institution and the world is benefited. And for this person, their prarabdha for this work is dissolved by those actions. People pray to God to incarnate and bless them, were it not for His compassion and a desire to alleviate the sorrows of mankind, we would not have been blessed with His divine incarnations, divine sports, and divine deeds. Such desires do not bind God or the wise men. So the wise men are also engaged into action in the world. They may also be prime ministers, chief ministers. Anything can be done by them. Nothing stops them from doing any action. Though they don't necessarily need to do anything, if they choose to do and they want to do, nobody can put a restraint on them. So their prarabdha will also get exhausted and the world will also be benefited. There's so many people, all the great avatars have happened because people have prayed to Bhagavan to manifest on earth as someone's child to save the people from this Rakshasa or that Rakshasa or this Asura, or to create a transformation in society. So those are the two beautiful verses from the Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritrāṇāya sadhūnam vināṣāya ca duṣkritāṃ dharma samsthapanārthāya sambhavami yuge yuge. Wherever dharma is failing and adharma is on the rise, goodness is going down and adharma or evil is rising, tada atmanam srijamyaham, I will manifest. Paritrāṇāya sadhūnam, I will protect the good people and destroy evildoers. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. Dharma samsthapana arthaya. I will come in this world and establish dharma, says Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita. So this is also a very interesting thing. We think that sometimes we don't want people to trouble us in life. So if somebody in our family or in our community takes up to sannyasa and then gains his knowledge, we expect that person to be not involving in anything related to their surroundings and society. We want them to just go far away and do their own work and do their own meditation and not interfere in society. But society these days is of a different kind. So there are sannyasis all around, there are swamis, there are people who do good work in society and they will engage in action. They are engaging in the world of action also, in government, in politics also you may find them, in administration, in business, everywhere you do find them. And we don't want them in our life because by virtue of their knowledge of the self and by virtue of not having any specific desires for them, they are very, very powerful also. And we wish that we don't have to see them, we don't have to deal with them. So, it is a very good check and balance in society where this verse which says that if they want to do, if they do something in society, the society will be blessed. At the same time, for all the people who are doing all the mischief in society, the presence of all these great Mahatmas is a very great check and balance, because anytime they want, they can take up and do what needs to be done, the work that needs to be done for the society. Just because they have withdrawn, just because they've got the knowledge, and just because they're living the life of a recluse in meditation, there is no guarantee that they have to stay there and do only that thing and not do anything in society. Whenever there is a call for action, they may engage if they want to, and nothing can be done. And when they engage themselves, there will be only victory on their side, because they know the right way to action, they know what to do, they know what needs to be done, and they will be victorious in what they do. We will see the next few verses tomorrow on this prarabdha. Om sarvesham swastir bhavatu, sarvesham shantir bhavatu, sarvesham purnam bhavatu, sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om asatoma sadgamaya, तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. बोले श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. हर नमः पार्वती पतये. हर हर महादेव. हरि ओम.